Breaking right now, Thomas Markle Jr., the sister of Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, has lashed out at his sister and her husband, Prince Harry, in the most brutal interview he has ever given.
It's really a little bit disturbing, saying that, she doesn't have a family, she doesn't have a father, and then Harry saying that she has no father now. That's just ridiculous.
There is a fundamental, terrifying flaw in building an empire on the concept of authenticity when your entire history has been aggressively rewritten. The original authors are still alive. For years, the Montecito PR machine has operated under the delusion that they successfully erased the Markle family. They branded them as toxic, dismissed them as tabloid fodder, and exiled them from the royal narrative. But you cannot simply PR your way out of a bloodline. Thomas Markle Jr. has just stepped back into the global spotlight, and he is not here to ask for an invitation to California. He is here to detonate the final, heavily guarded vaults of Meghan Markle's past. He is exposing the hidden family secrets the Sussex camp prayed would stay buried forever. And the fallout is absolutely catastrophic. We arrive at the first phase of the unmasking: the bloodline, betrayal, and the ghosts of the past. Thomas Jr. does not mince words. He forensically dissects the carefully curated victimhood-laden backstory his sister sold to the British public and Oprah Winfrey.
It's really a little bit disturbing, saying that, she doesn't have a family, she doesn't have a father, and then Harry saying that she has no father now. That's just ridiculous.
Meghan Markle is always attempting to, shall we say, build relationships with very, very, very rich men.
He points out the glaring, impossible contradictions of the self-made struggling narrative, exposing the immense financial and emotional support provided by their father. Thomas Markle's senior support that was completely scrubbed from the official record once Meghan secured the royal ring. Thomas Jr. alleges that Meghan's greatest secret isn't a single event. It is her chilling, practiced ability to entirely erase the people who built her the moment they outlived their utility. Let us go inside the $14 million Montecito compound to witness the fallout. The California sun is blinding outside, but the house is a freezing, isolated tomb. The silence is absolute, predatory, and entirely deafening. In a fortress built on the relentless preaching of global compassion and family healing, there is absolutely no compassion left. There is only the suffocating quiet of a PR command center, staring down the barrel of an unmasking orchestrated by the one group of people they can never legally silence: her own family. Silence isn't innocence. It is gasoline, and the entire estate is drenched in it. Prince Harry is pacing the length of his cavernous study, completely hollowed out. He is broken. He listens to his brother-in-law's explosive claims, and the terrifying reality of his isolation finally crushes him. He traded his own family, his country, and his birthright for a woman who promised him an authentic, loving sanctuary. Now, he realizes he may have simply been recruited into a long, brutal history of discarded relationships. He is a depreciated asset, trapped in a Californian mirage, terrified that he is just the latest chapter in a playbook written long before he ever met her. Down the hall,
I think she's taking advantage of a very weakened man and getting him to say things that you just shouldn't be saying on television. August 4th, 40 years ago, Meghan was born, and she was born as a C-section, so she was put in my arm. I was the first person to hold her. Her little hand went around my fingers like that, and I fell in love with her, and I had been that way for 40 years.
And I want it to be known worldwide, that the man who did everything for her and she threw away like a piece of dog shit stuck to the bottom of her shoe. Meghan, you should be ashamed of yourself to show your face in public. I hope people look at you and point from now on. That's that soulless evil. Oh, did I say that out loud? Oh, I'm so sorry. Allegedly, in my opinion.
In the war room, Meghan is not weeping. She is never sad. She is a cornered apex predator, operating with chilling surgical precision. She relies on ambiguity to survive, but the public, forensic dissection of her past by someone who shared her childhood home leaves her with absolutely no shadows to hide in. You cannot sell a story of ancestral healing when your own brother is broadcasting the receipts of your betrayal. Activate the smear campaign immediately. She dictates to her scrambling legal team over an encrypted line, her voice metallic and entirely flat. We label him a grifter. We deploy the bot farms to attack. His character: remind the media he wasn't at the wedding, but she is negotiating with ghosts. The public is exhausted by the victim narrative. They are finally listening to the other side of the story. Across the ocean, Prince William, the enforcer, stands in the quiet, historic authority of the palace. He watches the Montecito simulation violently crash. The men in gray suits warned Harry about this exact scenario before the wedding. They knew the Markle family file was a ticking time bomb. The palace perimeter is locked, and the spectacular unraveling of the Sussex origin story has only just begun. The exposure moves from the general erasure of the bloodline directly to the meticulous, forensic dismantling of the Sussex origin story. Thomas Markle Jr. does not just claim his sister lied. He brings the receipts that shatter the carefully constructed, focus group-tested narrative of the struggling, self-made woman. He is exposing the multi-million-dollar gap between the Hollywood script and the undeniable, documented reality.
Do you think your sister, Meghan Markle, has ruined Prince Harry?
The answer is yes. I mean, every single interview, every single picture, every place they go, Meghan grabs him. Meghan controls him. Meghan tells him no. Meghan stands in front of him. She controls every single situation like she is the star. And she's turned Prince Harry into a man of non-substance, for her own way. I do believe Meghan is driving this whole caravan for him. He is so stressed out. You can see it in his face. Despair. He's confused. He thinks he's going to get in trouble if he doesn't say exactly what Meghan says. Very sad.
I mean, it's incredibly hurtful. I also have always had sympathy with your father because I felt that he was thrown to the wolves. He tried to do the right thing. He came unstuck. And they just...
We arrive at the second phase of the unmasking, the fabricated poverty and the prophecy of the letter. Thomas Jr. targets the infamous Sizzler salad bar myth the story. Meghan repeatedly sold to the public to manufacture a relatable, rags-to-riches persona. He shatters it entirely. He reminds the world of the $500,000 lottery wins secured by their father. Thomas Sr., a windfall that was poured entirely into Meghan's elite, private school education, and early Hollywood career. He exposes the ultimate hypocrisy. She didn't claw her way out of poverty. She was entirely bankrolled by the very family she later deemed too toxic to invite to a royal wedding. But the most devastating blow comes when Thomas Jr. resurrects the ghost of the infamous warning letter. He reminds the global audience that long before the Oprah interview, long before the Netflix documentary, and long before the royal exit, he wrote a desperate letter to Prince Harry, warning him that he was walking into a highly calculated trap. He told Harry she would ruin his life. It was dismissed as the jealous ranting of an estranged brother. Today, it reads like a chilling, flawlessly accurate prophecy.
Royal family, you should be so thankful this woman wanted to leave because she's not going to bring any good to the branding of royal. She's going to downgrade it to a level of ghetto. And that's what it is. This is just bad.
She doesn't know us. It's just very bizarre how she just basically brushed the entire family under the carpet like we don't exist and then lied about not having a family and lied about she doesn't have a family that she's always wanted. We've always been here.
Look, actually, it was because of Meghan that it was taken away. Meghan could have had it there if she wanted to have it there. Instead, she wanted to have a bunch of celebrities she barely knew, from the Clooneys to the Beckhams to Elton John to James Gordon to Timbuktu. I mean, it looked like anyone she'd met on the party circuit in the previous 2 years got the invite. I knew Meghan for a bit before she met Harry. Did exactly the same to me. She did that to many people that she knew, that she'd either worked with or was friends with or whatever. It just seems to me she's what I would call a ruthless social climber, who just when people are no longer appropriate parts of her circle, they have to be expunged quickly so she can move on up the ladder.
What do you think's the biggest mistake that Harry and Meghan have made?
Leaving the royals, because that was what she married into. That was explained to her. The people of England loved her and loved Harry, and they were the stars. Everybody loved them.
And I think it was a desperate plea because they've made their bed for the last 6 years, and now they're sleeping on them, and the entire world knows exactly what's happening.
Let us return to the $14 million Montecito compound. The California sun cannot penetrate the psychological winter of this estate. The house is a freezing tomb. The silence is absolute, predatory, and entirely deafening. There are no sounds of a vibrant family. There is only the terrifying quiet of a brand whose foundational mythology has just been violently incinerated by the man who shared her childhood roof. Silence isn't innocence. It is gasoline. And tonight, the match is burning down to the fingers. Prince Harry sits in the dark of his cavernous study, completely hollowed out. He is broken. He listens to the audio of his brother-in-law resurrecting the warning letter, and the horrifying realization finally crushes him. He remembers reading that letter before the wedding. He remembers being convinced by the PR machine that it was a smear campaign. Now, sitting in isolation, alienated from his own bloodline and watching his Hollywood empire collapse, he realizes Thomas Jr. wasn't trying to sabotage him. He was trying to save him. He's a depreciated asset.
None whatsoever. And, I totally agree with you on the fact that none of us were ever coached or given any help with the paparazzi or press since the very beginning, which has caused a lot of problems. Nobody reached out. I actually
Have any advice for Harry?
Yeah, stop talking about the royals. Stop giving away all the secrets about the royals. And, love your children and love your wife. But also love your grandmother and love your father. Well, that's her first wedding in Jamaica. That's one of my favorite pictures. I'd like to have that experience with my granddaughter.
If you could get just one message across to your daughter now, what would it be?
As always, I do love you, and I wish we could sit down and talk about it. I'm not an ogre. I'd love to.
A former prince of the realm, reduced to realizing that the toxic brother-in-law was the only person who told him the absolute truth in the war room. Meghan is wide awake. She is never sad. She operates with chilling surgical precision. She relies on ambiguity to survive, but the public, forensic dissection of her elite upbringing and fabricated struggles leaves her with absolutely no shadows to hide in. You cannot merchandise relatable victimhood when your brother is broadcasting your private. School tuition receipts. Draft a cease and desist for harassment. She dictates to her scrambling PR team over an encrypted line, her voice completely flat. We claim he is extorting us. We pivot to the mental health narrative. We say this is why we had to cut them, OFF, because they sell stories. But she is negotiating with ghosts. The public is no longer blinded by the emotional manipulation. They see the chronological impossibilities. And they realize the family was cut off precisely because they knew the truth. Across the ocean, Prince William, the enforcer, receives the intelligence reports. He is cold. He is surgical. He is final. The men in gray suits kept a copy of that warning letter in their files. They knew the Sizzler narrative was a PR fabrication from day one. The palace watches the Hollywood cannibalization happen in real time, knowing that a brand built on a stolen backstory eventually collapses under the weight of its own family. The exposure accelerates. From the financial receipts directly into the psychological.
She's already gotten the benefit of her bargain with Harry because she got the title. That's what she wanted. She wanted to be world famous. She wanted the title. You remember when Harry was single, he was the elephant. He was the one, the most eligible bachelor on earth. You could be a royal. You could become world famous overnight. You could live in a castle. You could have access to the crown jewels. You would be a princess. My God, yes, he could have had his
blueprint of the Sussex operation. Thomas Markle Jr. does not just dismantle the poverty myth. He forensically dissects the most glaring, globally televised anomaly of Meghan's entire royal narrative, the wedding guest list. He is exposing the ruthless, calculated reality behind the fairy tale. We arrive at the third phase of the unmasking, the Hollywood casting call, and the ghosts of the aisle. Thomas Jr. forces the world to re-examine the optics of St. George's Chapel. He points out the chilling, undeniable truth that the Sussex PR machine spent millions trying to obscure. Meghan Markle invited a glittering array of Hollywood A-listers, talk show hosts, and movie stars she had allegedly never even met while systematically barring her own flesh and blood from the gates. He exposes the ultimate, devastating reality. The royal wedding wasn't a family celebration. It was the ultimate Hollywood casting call. He alleges this is the core of the Meghan Markle playbook, the ghosting pattern. Childhood friends, her first husband, and the family that bankrolled her rise were entirely erased, replaced by high-value celebrities who could elevate her brand. He warns that her loyalty is not to people. It is entirely, exclusively to power. Let us step back inside the $14 million Montecito fortress. It is high noon, but the California sun cannot pierce the psychological winter of this estate. The house is a freezing tomb. The silence is absolute, predatory, and entirely deafening. There are no sounds of a vibrant family. There is only the terrifying quiet of a brand whose deepest, most narcissistic operating system is being broadcast to the world by a man who survived it.
How can she sit there saying, I so love my family, my family love me, and ruthlessly cut you, Tom Sr. and Samantha out of her?
Meghan Markle really did expect Harry to be a billionaire when she met him. She was incredibly disappointed to find out he's only worth a couple million, and she's gonna have to actually work and hawk these jams and jellies and dog biscuits to have the lifestyle that she...
Silence isn't innocence. It is gasoline, and the match is burning down to the fingers. Prince Harry is standing by the massive bay windows, completely hollowed out. He is broken. He listens to the exposure of the guest list, and a sickening, unadulterated panic sets in. He remembers standing at the altar, looking out at a sea of celebrities his wife barely knew, while his own family sat uncomfortably across the aisle from strangers. The recruitment operation he fell for convinced him they were building a modern, progressive court. Instead, he realizes he was just the ultimate highest-value casting choice for her masterpiece. He is a depreciated asset, entirely stripped of his royal armor, facing the agonizing reality that if she can erase the family that raised her, she can just as easily erase him the moment his royal utility expires. In the war room, Meghan is pacing. She is never sad. She operates with chilling, surgical precision. She relies on commanding the narrative to survive, but the hard-broadcasted reality of her ghosting pattern leaves her with absolutely no shadows to hide in. You cannot sell a story of authentic, relatable compassion when your brother is exposing the transactional ruthlessness of your wedding day. We pivot to the toxicity narrative immediately. She dictates to a rapidly shrinking crisis team over an encrypted line, her voice metallic and entirely flat. We claim we invited strangers because they represented our philanthropic future. We say my family was too dangerous to attend, spin the exclusion as self-care. But she is negotiating with ghosts. The public is no longer buying the toxic family excuse.
I mean, that moment when Prince Harry, who's never met your father, says that Meghan has no father. What did you think of that?
I think it's horrible. The documentary is so far off on so many different...
They see the transactional nature of the Hollywood friendships, and they realize the only truly dangerous element of the Markle family was their inconvenient knowledge of the truth. Across the ocean, Prince William, the enforcer, monitors the global fallout. He is cold, he is surgical, he is final. The palace recognizes the supreme irony of the situation. The men in gray suits warned the Queen about the bizarre, heavily PR-curated guest list in 2018. They knew a bride with no family on her side of the aisle was a walking red flag. The palace watches the Montecito fortress rapidly collapse from the inside out, completely paralyzed by the exposure of their own ruthless ambition. The exposure accelerates from the spectacle of the wedding aisle directly into the darkest, most highly guarded chapter of the Markle family saga. Thomas Markle Jr. is no longer just discussing guest lists or lottery winnings. He is forensically examining the exact moment the Montecito machine deployed its most ruthless tactic. He is exposing the terrifying reality. Behind his father's absence, we arrive at the fourth phase of the unmasking, the medical betrayal and the PR guillotine. The Sussex narrative has painted Thomas Markle Sr. as the ultimate villainer, man who betrayed his daughter by staging paparazzi photos right before the royal wedding.
Long story short, all right, I do blame Meghan Markle. Meghan Markle, the shit stain of humanity. Yes, Meghan, and I hope you're watching right now. I hope you're watching, Meghan, because you are the shit stain of humanity. I hope people spit in your face when they see you walking down the...
But Thomas Jr. shatters this carefully constructed PR defense. He exposes the brutal timeline leading up to that moment. He reminds the world that his father, a retired lighting director, was suddenly hunted by the most vicious global paparazzi, entirely unprotected by the palace PR machinery his daughter now commanded. Thomas Jr. alleges the terrifying truth. The staged photos weren't a malicious betrayal. They were the desperate, naive actions of an elderly man drowning in a media circus, allegedly abandoned by his own daughter. But the true horror, Thomas Jr. reveals, came days later when their father suffered 2 massive heart attacks. Instead of rushing to his bedside, instead of delaying the spectacle, the Sussex machine allegedly saw an opportunity. They used the health crisis and the paparazzi misstep not as a moment for compassion, but as the perfect, publicly justifiable excuse to drop the PR. guillotine, and permanently sever the bloodline. Let us go back inside the $14 million Montecito compound. It is dusk. A suffocating heavy marine layer has swallowed the fortress, turning it into an isolated tomb. The silence is absolute, predatory, and entirely deafening. There are no sounds of a vibrant family life. There is only the suffocating quiet of a PR command center whose most deeply buried moral failure is being broadcast to the world. It is gasoline, and tonight, the flames are licking the very walls of the estate. Prince Harry is wandering the empty, cavernous corridors, completely hollowed out. He is broken. He listens to his brother-in-law dissect the timeline of the heart attacks.
Do you still love your daughter?
Of course I do. I love my children. I love my other daughter. I love my son. Of course I love leaving the royals, because that was what she married into. That was explained to her. The people of England loved her and loved Harry. And I mean, they were the stars. Everybody loved them.
And I think it was a desperate plea because they've made their bed for the last 6 years and now they're sleeping on them. And the entire world knows exactly what's happening with those.
And the final horrifying reality of his situation locks into place. He realizes he married into a narrative that allegedly weaponized an old man's medical emergency to ensure a perfect, celebrity-filled wedding aesthetic. The recruitment operation he fell for didn't teach him compassion. It taught him corporate ruthlessness. He is a depreciated asset staring directly into the abyss, terrified by the realization that if the machine can abandon a father in a cardiac ward, it will not hesitate to abandon a deposed prince when the money runs dry. In the war room, Meghan is wide awake. She is never sad. She is an apex predator cornered by her own hubris, operating with chilling surgical precision. She relies on ambiguity to survive, but the hard, unyielding reality of her brother broadcasting the medical timeline leaves her with absolutely no shadows to hide in. You cannot demand global empathy for your mental health when your family is exposing your alleged indifference to a heart attack. We re-release the letter to my father. She dictates to her panicked, rapidly shrinking PR team over an encrypted line, her voice metallic and entirely flat. We remind them of my heartbreak. We spin the heart attack as a manipulation tactic. We must maintain the victim narrative at all costs. She is attempting to resurrect old defenses, but she is negotiating with ghosts. The public has seen the timeline. They see the cold, calculated efficiency of the PR guillotine, and the emotional manipulation is entirely dead on arrival. Across the ocean, Prince William, the enforcer, watches the broadcast conclude its fourth segment. He is cold, he is surgical, he is final. The crown is not interfering because they don't have to. The men in gray suits remember the chaos of those pre-wedding days. They remember offering assistance to Thomas Sr., only to be allegedly blocked by the bride's camp. The institutional perimeter is permanently sealed, and the Hollywood contagion is rapidly destroying the last shred of the Sussex humanitarian facade.
Stop talking about the royals. Stop giving away all the secrets about the royals. And, love your children and love your wife. But also love your grandmother and love your father. Now, like I said, Meghan did it to me, and now Harry's doing it to his father. That's a cold thing to do. And it's even more cold to do it to the Queen, who's in her 90s. None of this makes sense. My congratulations to Meghan and to Harry.
Harry and Meghan say they plan to call her Lily.
Lily is a perfect name. And the other thing that makes me happy is there's now a lot more Markle.
The exposure reaches its absolute devastating terminus. Thomas Markle Jr. does not conclude his broadcast with a plea for reconciliation. He delivers a chilling psychological death blow to the entire Montecito illusion. He shifts his focus from the past directly to the terrifying, inescapable future of the Duke of Sussex. He forensically exposes the final, undeniable truth of the Markle playbook. We arrive at the final reckoning, the isolation blueprint, and the inevitable. Discard. Thomas Jr. looks directly into the camera and delivers his final warning, not to the public, but to Prince Harry. He exposes the ultimate pattern: isolate, extract, and discard. He points out that Meghan did not just cut off her father and her siblings. She methodically severed every single tie Prince Harry had to his own bloodline, his homeland, and his lifelong friends. Thomas Jr. alleges that this was never about protecting Harry from a toxic royal institution. It was about achieving total, uncontested control. The brother-in-law issues the final prophecy. once the royal titles lose their Hollywood currency, and once the money runs dry.
You see similarities in the way Harry has treated Charles and the way Meghan has treated you?
Yes, I see them both ghosting their families completely. Now basically now they're alone in a huge house that they could probably accommodate 20 people in, and it's just the four of them.
There's some irony to the fact that Harry and Meghan are now living just a few hours up the road from you.
Right.
Yet they might as well be on a different planet in terms of the amount of contact that you're all having.
Exactly. I'm not a tearful type, but I keep everything in here. I don't really let it out but I'm certainly hurt.
Harry will face the exact same PR guillotine that fell on Thomas Markle Sr. The ultimate discard is not a possibility. It is a historical inevitability. Let us step inside the $14 million Montecito tomb one last time. It is dawn. The suffocating, heavy marine layer is finally burning off, exposing the fortress to the harsh, unforgiving light of reality. Inside the house is a freezing void. The silence is absolute, predatory, and deafening. There are no sounds of a thriving, vibrant family preparing to take on the world. There is only the chilling, unnatural quiet of a stage set right before the curtain drops forever, revealing the staggering emotional and financial ruin underneath. Silence isn't innocence. It is gasoline, and the entire operation has just gone up in a spectacular, globally televised blaze. Prince Harry stands by the massive bay windows, looking out at the California horizon, completely hollowed out. He is broken. The terrifying reality of his brother-in-law's final prophecy shatters his last remaining delusion. He looks at his own profound isolation. He has no country, no family, no trusted inner circle. He has been entirely quarantined within a multi-million-dollar echo chamber. He realizes he didn't rescue his wife from the monarchy. He walked blindly into the exact same trap that ensnared her own father.
Meghan's been very open about her mental health struggle.
Yes.
Do you consider yourself partly to blame for her suffering?
Maybe to some percentage, but I was there at any time. She could have picked the phone and called me at any time. She has my phone number. So.
Getting any younger, do you worry that you might never meet these two grandchildren?
July 18th, I'll be 77 years old. Most of the Markle men don't make it much past 80. So there's a good chance I might never see my grandchildren. I'm not looking for pity. I'm just saying that's...
He is a depreciated asset, trapped in a house built on severed ties, waiting in sheer terror for the day his utility expires and the locks are changed. In the war room, Meghan stands amidst the shredded remains of her 5-year global strategy. She is a cornered predator. She is never sad. She operates with chilling surgical precision, desperately searching for a new narrative. She relies on commanding the spotlight to survive, but the undeniable broadcasted reality of her family exposing her deepest psychological blueprints leaves her with absolutely no shadows to hide in. The victim card has been permanently declined. You cannot claim to be a champion of global compassion when your own flesh and blood is actively warning your husband that he is next on the chopping block. We brand him unstable. She dictates to the empty room, her voice a metallic, desperate whisper. We hire private investigators. We dig up dirt on my family. We release a statement about setting healthy boundaries. We must convince the sponsors that we are the healthy ones.
Have you sort of given up hope of a reconciliation with Harry and Meghan?
I'll never give up hope. I'll stay in the game. I mean, like I said, if I'm called or visited, they're welcome anytime they want to come down. I'm here.
Do you think she still loves you?
I have no idea. I don't. Like I said, I haven't spoken to her since I was laying in a hospital bed 2 days before they got married. That's the last conversation we had. That was it. I haven't.
YouTube and how strict draws about offensive speech to take responsibility and get.
I think it's disgusting because she treats her family so well.
Oh, come on. Come
on. She deserves it.
No,
Kevin.
Kevin.
What goes around comes around.
How does she treat a family?
Suck it up, Meghan.
How does she treat them badly, exactly? Huh? How does she treat them badly?
Hasn't spoken to her dad now?
Because he sold stories on her.
Yeah?
It was cashing in on
dad.
her. So what?
But she is negotiating with ghosts. The leverage is completely gone. The Hollywood executives have fled, horrified by the cold, calculated reality of her family history. The entire world has seen the blueprint, and you cannot unring the bell of a brother publicly forecasting your next betrayal. Prince William, the enforcer, stands in the quiet, historic and absolute authority of the palace. He has made his move by not moving at all. He is cold, he is surgical, he is final. The perimeter is fully and permanently secured. The simulation has violently crashed. The men in gray suits didn't have to launch an investigation or issue a frantic press release. They simply had to wait for the ghosts of Meghan's past to step in front of a microphone and tell the truth. History will remember Meghan and Harry, not as the compassionate modernizers who conquered the monarchy, nor as the fearless cycle breakers who healed their trauma. History will remember them as the grifters who walked willingly into their own trap, traded their birthright for a fabricated reality, and lost absolutely everything when the family they tried to erase finally decided to speak.